Today we'll cover teaching methodology. Okay, how to teach pregnancy yoga, and please try to understand the techniques and the way, effective way, and very safe way to teach pregnancy yoga, so that your teaching will be highly helpful to your students, and also at the same time your students will be free from any danger. You know, your students will be safe because pregnancy yoga is not normal yoga. This is technical yoga. This is very, what you say, therapeutic kind of yoga. Okay. Actually, when anybody practices yoga normally, then in that case also every asana has therapeutic effects. Okay. When I say therapeutic effects means there are some benefits, but at the same time there are some precautions to take care. Precautions means contraindications. In our languages, we call it contraindications in yogic terminology. What is that word? Contraindications, right? So first is benefits, second is contraindications. So you should be aware of every asana, that what are the benefits and what are the contraindications, to be careful, to be mindful. So as a teacher, you have greater responsibility because your students will depend on you. And if you'll teach anything wrong, then the consequences will be very harmful. Okay. Therefore, in this pregnancy yoga, you have to be very mindful, very attentive, and knowledgeable in teaching pregnancy yoga. Clear? Well, so based on my own experiences of years of teaching, and then also my studies, based on my studies, I will share some very fundamentals of pregnancy yoga teachings. Okay, very basic things. And if you'll remember those things, then your classes will be effective, transformative, and helpful. Okay. So the sequence is very important in pregnancy yoga class also. Sequence. You will start always with chantings, right? Chanting. And you can, if you don't remember the other mantras, you can simply start with Om chanting, 3 Om chanting. Okay, if you can teach Gayatri mantra, that is very safe, that is very good. So you can chant Gayatri mantra also, or Ganesha mantra, or Mahamrityunjay mantra. There are very many mantras. But at least Om 3 times. So always start with Om. But sometimes if you teach yoga to people who are from different faiths, from different religions, and who don't want to chant the mantras, then you can simply start with the next thing, and that is called breathing exercise. Okay, you can skip the mantra and you can start with breathing exercise. So pregnancy yoga should always be started with breathing exercise, not immediately posture practices, because breathing exercises are so powerful and so inner that will warm the body from inside. That warms the body from inside, and one can feel sweating, one can feel very warm, very hot, just by practicing different pranayama, breathing exercises. Okay, so this is a good idea to start pregnancy yoga with breathing exercise. At the end also you can add breathing exercise, but start with breathing exercise. And you know that in pregnancy yoga you don't teach all the breathing exercises, only very few, very limited. Okay, so you can start with belly breathing, so placing palms over the belly, and you can ask them to take 10 breaths or 15 or 20 breaths, not more than 20 and not less than 10 breaths. Okay, so you have to ask your student to count themselves. You don't have to count, because when your student is involved in counting, that is mindfulness practice, and mindfulness is very important. In that way your student's mind will be involved into that practice. Okay, so first is belly breathing, and second is Panjar Pranayama, means placing hands here at the rib cage. Okay, below the chest here, joining these two fingers, inhale, they will go away. Fingers, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay, this is called Panjar Pranayam. And then the chest breathings. Chest breathing is simply placing palms over the chest. And inhale, and note the expansion of the chest area. And exhale, relax. So 10 breathings of chest breathings. Then collarbone breathings. So placing fingers here at the collarbone. Inhale. Inhale, and at the end of inhalation, one inhales once more. Then that fills this area. Okay, and then slowly exhale. This is called collarbone breathings or clavicular breathings. Will you remember, or are you noting down? Yeah. If you want, I can share this video later on also. Okay. So first is belly breathings, Udar Pranayam. Next is Panjar breathings, ribcage breathings. Second, third is chest breathing called Vaks Pranayam. Fourth is collarbone or clavicular bone breathings. This is called Jatru Pranayam. Okay. And then is Anulom Vilom. Anulom Vilom Pranayam. Fifth. So start with 5 breathings, 5 types of breath work. Yeah, Anulom Vilom. In Anulom Vilom, these 2 fingers are folded and these 2 fingers are used. Thumb and ring fingers. Yes. Yeah. Correct. And your student can practice 10 breaths. 10 is good. 10, 15, 20, 25, like that. But 10 is okay because you have to let them practice other things also. Okay. So in case of people who are not secular, who cannot chant mantra, you start with breathing exercise. Breathing exercises. And then you'll start with different postures because your student will be sitting on the floor. So you can start with some sitting postures only. We have learned different types of postures, right? Many postures we have learned. So start with sitting postures and then ask your student to get up, stand up, and then standing postures. Where is the standing postures? And then down, coming down, and side bending postures, different side bending postures. Because first trimester naturally passes. Okay. So second trimester is the best time to practice yoga. Second trimester, because in first trimester, 1.5 months or 2 months are naturally passed. Then you notice that you are pregnant, right? And third trimester, in second trimester, third month, in first trimester, first trimester, second trimester, third trimester. There are 3 trimesters, right? In first trimester, in second month, you notice that you are pregnant and you get clarification in second month. In third month, you should relax. You should not do anything. You should simply relax, and you should your students should simply be careful in food and exercises, in walking, okay? Because that is very sensitive month. Because miscarriages happen in third month of the first trimester, okay? And then in second trimester, you have full range to practice different asanas. If your student had background of yoga, if your student had already practiced yoga earlier, then your student can practice various asanas comfortably. But still, you have to be careful in asana practices because in pregnancy yoga, you have to avoid certain, sensitive things, like you have to completely avoid the postural practices which are practiced on the belly. Okay. First. Second, we have to avoid or be careful in the postures where you have to practice twisting postures. Twisting postures you have to avoid, or only few postures with modifications, making that gentle, so that will not give any strain over the belly area. So you have to avoid always this straining on the belly area. Okay. So this is called twisting postures, closed twisting postures. This is called closed twisting. Please note down, or please remember this word. What? Closed twisting. So gentle twisting can be done because you have to make the spine also mobile. You have to mobilize your spine. You have to, work on the spine also, but very gentle. Okay. So the belly area has to be always protected. And then upper part of the body can be practiced. Different postures like this, different postures. Shoulder exercises, then neck exercises. So this can be practiced. And then back bending asanas should also be practiced carefully. Or if your student did not have background or earlier experience, then you can skip some intensive back bend asana, but very gentle ones you can choose. So you have to use your intellect also. You have to use your intelligence. Okay. You have to connect with your student. When you are teaching, then you have to connect with your student. You have to have an inner connection with your students. Then only you will feel how even you're not practicing, your student is practicing, but you have to connect with your student. You have to feel that. And feeling like I am pregnant, and then you have to teach. Okay. So intensive back bend asanas are avoided. And then inversion asanas are also avoided, but can be practiced if your students had background or early experiences. Yoga background or earlier experiences of yoga. Okay. So these are about the postural practices. And you have already learned various postures. Okay. Standing, sitting, then side postures. So different postures. So because you will be offering 1 hour session to your student. So in 1 hour, in breathing exercise, that will be spent, I think, 20 minutes. Your student will spend 20 minutes in breathing exercise. And then postural practices, you have you have only 40 minutes. So let your student practice 35 minutes yoga exercise, different postures. Okay. And the pace of pregnancy yoga is very slow pace, not fast yoga, very slow yoga. And also use the props, different props like bolsters, pillows, then yoga bricks, yoga belts, blankets. All these are mentioned in the book, manual book. Understanding? Yeah. So use these props to make the yoga asana practices more comfortable and more safe. Okay. And in balancing asanas, your students have to practice with the support of the wall. Okay, with the support of the wall. Because a pregnant lady should not fall, because in balancing asanas, there is chance to fall down. So taking support is always good. Although your student had good background, but that should be practiced close to the wall. Okay. And then breathing exercises. In breathing exercise, you will teach the same breathing exercises. You have various breathing exercises in pranayama chapter, right? In pranayama section, you have learned. So you can teach breathing exercises because you had already taught breathing in the beginning. So at the end, simply let your student practice the remaining pranayama exercises. And what are remaining? Like Ujjayi pranayama, okay, and Brahmari pranayama, Bhastrika pranayama, bellow breathings. Only the balance pranayamas your student will practice, and then some meditation. You can teach meditation also, 5 minutes meditation. So in the beginning, you can curtail the time. 15 minutes breathing exercise, then 35 minutes, okay, 35 minutes yoga exercise, and then pranayama. Then we have 10 minutes more. So 5 minutes pranayama and 5 minutes meditation, because meditation will relax your strength. Sometimes you can teach yoga nidra, short yoga nidra, quick yoga nidra. Okay. So that is the sequence at the end of the practice. And mantras, you have already practiced. Yes. Now, in the manual book also, I have mentioned some important aspects of teaching prenatal yoga, okay, in the manual book. The first is start by learning how much experience they have. This is the first thing. Okay. You should have idea that your student have the experiences or not. Okay. Second is hamstrings are usually tighter during pregnancy, so you'll teach hip opening asanas, inversion twistings, laying on the back or belly, we have already mentioned, and there are some poses you have to avoid or modify it. Okay, the flexor poses, which focus on the flexions, because that may lead to hernia. Flexor poses are technically a hip flexor pose. You have to be careful. Okay, and laying back on shavasana is completely avoided. Mainly after 20 week. After 20 week, laying on savasana is completely avoided. And in the beginning, laying on savasana should be practiced by placing bolster in the back, placing bolsters. Then you can recommend prenatal massage also by experts, massage experts. Okay, so your student can sometimes have prenatal massage. And then trimester wise, I have already mentioned. So second trimester has full range of practice, and third trimester you will focus more on the breathing exercises, less asanas and breathing exercises. And in third trimester, in the eighth month, you will teach Kegel exercises, or childbirth preparations. Like Mamta ji is in the last stage, right? So she should practice in that way. More breathing exercise, Ujjayi breath, golden thread breath. Yeah, this kind of breathing. Producing like sighing, like this kind of sighing. That will help combat the pain, labor pain. Because this breathing exercise is very, useful, very useful.